Hello, my wonderful little scholars. This is Miss Carlton, and today we are going to do our first formal vocabulary lesson. Before we get started with the lesson, I want you to know that this is Vocabulary 1 Monday. Okay, Vocabulary 1 Monday. Turn to page 51 in your journal, please. Page 51. Let's see if I could get this a little closer. Okay, this is the beginning of the vocabulary part of our journal. And as you already know, I gave you this paper right here that says Vocabulary Strategies Chart. See, right there? Vocabulary Strategies Chart. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you'll look up on the board, our goals for this week are to recognize in context what strategies the author is using to help us to define words in context. So the first thing I want you to do is take this piece of paper and turn to page 52. And we are going to put this little chart into our vocabulary notebook. Now, when you do this, I got to tell you, Miss Carlton is real picky about glue. And the reason why I am is because I like to correct things that I make mistakes on. So we can even correct things that are glued down on our paper if we glue them properly into our vocabulary notebook. When you glue this, you are going to do, I hope, 6 drops of glue. 1 in each corner. Okay, I don't know if you noticed or not, but I had to stop my video because I had some ugly glue problems. So I had to go change my glue. Now, next time I'll know to check my glue before I get started. So we were talking about gluing your paper, and Ms. Carlton wants you to know that I am very strict about it. Like I said before, I'm strict because I like to correct mistakes that we make. So when we glue papers, I will tell you how many dots of glue to use. On this piece of paper, we're going to use 6 dots, 1 in each corner and 1 on each side. Just like that. And then we're going to turn our page to page 52. And we are going to glue this right on that page. So we will have it to refer to. Okay, go ahead and do that. I'm going to stop the video for a second. Okay, so while you're gluing, I want to demonstrate how not to glue. If you are gluing like you are decorating a Christmas cake or a birthday cake like this, or you put glue in the middle of the page, that will not make me a happy person. And I will be checking if I find that any of you are gluing like this. I will take 10 points off of your grade for your journal. Okay, so here we are with my strategies page glued in to my journal. And over here, we see vocabulary strategies. And what this is figuring out the meaning of words in context. Now, before we get to all of the strategies that authors use, I want to tell you what context means. And I want you to write this on page 53. When you write the word context, you spell it C-O-N-T-E-X-T. Sorry about that. First video and all, it's going to be kind of messy. So if you divide that word, you have a prefix, con, and then you have the base word, text. And what this means is written word, And what con means is with. So please write those notes on page 53. Context. Text meaning written words. Let me put an S on the end of that. Written words. You can always stop this video to catch up with me, okay? Pause it and then go back. And then con means with. So with written words, you are going to determine what words mean. Now the word event, you don't need to worry about that right now. In fact, I think I'll go ahead and white it out here in a second. But what I want to point out to you is that with your story or with the text that the author is using, when he introduces a word that you might not know, you can break that word down into prefixes and base words. For instance, if you have a word like prepay, you know that the word pay means that you're going to pay out some money. The word pre means that you're going to pay before you do whatever it is you want to do. So here are two examples of what a prefix can be like. The first one is my shoelaces are untied. So the word un, or not the word un, the prefix un means not, and tied is the base word, meaning your shoelaces are not tied. And it says, the laces are not tied in this example sentence. Now, your second example sentence, you're going to write yourself. And that example sentence is, I am going to retie my shoe laces. Now in this example, your prefix is re, and you already know what tie means. So re means to do again. You're going to tie them again. So as you're reading text, if you come to a word you don't know, look to see if it has a prefix. Break the prefix off, look at the base word, and see if you can tell what that word means. And then look at the prefix and identify what the prefix means, and then put the meanings of the two together, like we did with re-tie. All right, our second strategy for vocabulary in context is that sentences or context clues. And context clues are sentences or words that come before or after a word that you might not know that give you a clue to its meaning. So let's look at the example that we have here. It says, my room is chaotic. It is messy because I have not cleaned it in weeks. Okay, now, my room would be messy too if I did not clean it in weeks. So it is messy. This is the word that lets you know what chaotic means. If you want to know what the author means by messy, he gave you some more information by saying, because I have not cleaned it in weeks. Okay? So if you haven't cleaned your room in weeks, you have a chaotic room. I'm going to read this part to you now. The sentence after chaotic gives you context to understand that something that is chaotic is messy. Like I said before, if you need to go back or if you need to pause the video, go ahead, go back and write the notes. Rewind and write the notes. When I underline something, I want you to underline it. When I write something, I want you to write it. So please do that as I'm just talking along here. Our next strategy that an author uses to let you know what a word means is he gives contrasting statements. Okay, that means statements or sentences that tell you the opposite meaning of the word. Okay, the opposite meaning of the word. For instance, you might say something like, definitely not a girl's. The pair of pants were lying on the floor. Okay. So you know that the pair of pants, because it said definitely not a girl's, you know that that pair of pants was a boy's pair of pants. So you need to go get your brother or your cousin and tell him to pick up his pants off the floor. Okay. Or something like this. Not a fast creature. The turtle is desperate to save his life. Okay? So the contrasting statement is not a fast animal, not a fast creature. All right? So what I would do is, this is the contrasting statement. Not a fast creature. I've got to use an adjective now for moving slowly. So hang on a second here. So Miss Carlton is going to change this up a little bit. I'm going to say, not a fast creature. Oh, hang on. I'm trying to think of a good word for slow. Oh, I like this word. The glue-footed turtle fears for its life. Not a fast creature, the glue-footed turtle fears for its life. So pretend you don't know what glue-footed means. Glue-footed. I should have highlighted that instead of put a box. The glue-footed. Go ahead and write that. I'm going to try and make it so you can see that better. Okay, I'm going to write over glue-footed so you can see it really well. Okay. The glue-footed turtle fears for its life. Let's see what our example sentence is. It says, the water is now tainted, but it used to be clean enough to drink. It used to be clean enough to drink. So our vocabulary word is tainted. And then the contrasting statement, the opposite statement, says it used to be clean. So what does tainted mean? Tainted is the opposite of clean. So that means that the water is dirty and you can't drink it. It says here, in this sentence, clean is the opposite of tainted. But, the word but, gives you a clue that there is a contrasting statement in the sentence. So let's put an arrow above the word but. And let's use but as a signal word for contrasting statements. Okay. The next thing we're going to look at are called appositives. And a positive is where the author actually defines the vocabulary word or the phrase in a sentence right there, right after he uses it. And our example is I injured, and you can see the word injured is bold. I injured or hurt my knee at the soccer game. In this example, hurt defines injured in the sentence. Okay, so he defined that word injured right away. Now, the last strategy that we're going to talk about are outside resources. And what outside resources are dictionaries, glossaries, the internet, the dictionary.com, your friend, the teacher, that kind of thing. Those are all outside sources, and we're going to wait on that one. We're going to talk about the other ones first and show examples of them. Okay? And then later on, we're going to talk about dictionary resources and glossaries. So this is the end of lesson 1 for vocabulary in context using our vocabulary strategies chart. And my 4th grade scholars, you are going to need this chart for your upcoming assignments. I want to remind you that the word context means with text. All right? So if you have any questions when I'm done when I'm finished, when I'm finished helping my other students, you may come up to me and ask any questions that you have about this lesson. The lesson for tomorrow will actually involve context. We will use context to identify these strategies that the author has used. Okay, that's the end of lesson 1 in vocabulary for Monday. Vocabulary 1 Monday. Okay,